Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. This is Jake R. Lopez, and the topic that I'm going to discuss is about the genre theory and writing, specifically the nature of genre and the genre of writing. On the other hand, the genre as product in writing and the process of teaching and learning through genre approach will be discussed by Mr. Vioya. So, without further ado, let's get started. Genre theory aims to make the language of learning visible and accessible to all the students. In doing this, it draws on Halliday's model of language in context. In every context, there is always a various purposes for which we use language. Genre theory is a collective term used to describe theoretical approaches that are concerned with how similar situations generate typified responses called genres, which serve as a platform for both creating an understanding based on shared expectation and also shaping the social context, meaning it is how related to ideas about how things work or why they happened. Approaches that are concerned with how almost the same situations can create different responses. So at the broad level, we have seen that the context can include the various purposes for which we use language. The genres of culture such as school discourse. So when we say discourse, it is a community or a group of people who share a set basic values and beliefs. Each discourse community has its own of written or unwritten rules and use them to pursue a common goal. When it comes to a school discourse community, it is embedded within the teaching and learning that the students should learn in school. So let's proceed now to the key stages, which are the deconstruction of the genre, joint construction, and independent constructions. So first, let's talk about the deconstruction of the genre. The teachers are using a modal text. The teachers draw students' attention to how a text is structured to achieve the purpose of the task and to some of the relevant language features of the genre. So the students should have a basis in order for them to have an idea or a schema. That's why teachers are using a modal text. By the students will be able to understand how the text is being structured. Therefore, deconstruction occurs when the author of a work performs on a specific genre. Just like what I've said a while ago, in order to do this, you could use a modal text, any signs or letterings that is on a wall or a blackboard. This will help the teachers to get the attention of the class. By using a modal text, we can achieve the purpose of the task. And the second one is joint construction. The teacher and students collaboratively write a text in the target genre, with the students contributing their ideas while the teacher demonstrates how they might be shaped up into an effective, well-structured text, incorporating insights about language offered by a modal text. In here, the teacher and the learners will collaborate. They will write a text that will target the genre. While the students share their ideas, the teacher will demonstrate and elaborate their ideas in a way that it would be easier for the students to visualize their ideas. So the teacher will explain how it happened and the teacher will incorporate the insights of his students. So next is independent construction. When students feel confident about what is required on completing the task, they are then in a position to independently write a text similar to the modal text using the same genre, though with a slight change in the field. So, for instance, the task were to compose a life cycle explanation. Then the modal text might deal with the life cycle of a butterfly, while the student's task might involve writing about the life cycle of a frog. Providing the students an example will help them to visualize their ideas. So let's proceed now to the nature of genres. So the word genre is derived from the French language meaning form or type. Then regionally the word genre, which is also used in biology since means genus, referring to the classification of flora and fauna. So it can be simply said that genre means type or or kind, or a class of particular thing or object. Then recently, genre is also used in linguistic study. When it comes to linguistic study, genre becomes a kind of language object to study. So what is genre in terms of linguistic? Martin stated in 1999 that genre is a communication activity having an orienting goal, while Swill simply defines genre in 1990 that it is a communication event in which the members have a set of communication goal. So in communication goal, specific targets for communicating information, knowledge, and information. Communication goals define the broad intentions and aims of communication for both individuals. According to the said statements, it can be said that the genres is a process of communication which has a certain goal or goal-oriented for its members in a certain event of communication due to the social context. So genre is a matter of communication event by social context, meaning your response will determine your social context. It includes the culture that the individual was educated or lives in, and the people and institutions with whom they interact with. Therefore, in social context, it is how someone reacts on something depending their immediate social or physical environment. Social context can influence how someone perceives something. So the different context then tends to lead to different genre. So in line with the concept of genre, Christian Dan Martin stated in 2020 that genre is the particular usage of the language in a certain goal, in a certain social circumstance, such as interview genre, media genre, or advertisement genre, and so forth. So referring to the previous definitions, genre is a kind of text, it's either oral or written, in which there is a relationship between language and its social function. Due to distinctive social functions, the usage of language tend to apply different genre depending on existing social function. For instance, a wave or a wink in a particular culture or setting may communicate a warm greeting or friendly joke by one definition. In a different social context, however, action might signify a complete different message. That's why it is really important to be attentive at all times. Hereafter, genre is then defined the use of language by means of typical and specific way in order to achieve a specific goal. By this context, it seems that the most important thing to keep in mind is that a kind of text, either oral or written, Swill's 1990 has stated is seemingly clear that genre has a number of characteristics and features such as genre has a particular communication event, genre has a specific goal or goal-oriented, genre is different and various in accordance to its typical features, each genre has a matter of limitation and rules including content, physical form, and shape, and every genre belongs to a certain discourse community. To sum it up, in genre, a particular event or social context will determine the context of the whole event. In line with discourse community, it adds that genre is shaped or existing due to existing discourse community. It is a fact that different discourse community has different genre due to differences. So, Swill's 1990 as stated by Chuawunton clarifies that characteristics of discourse community in terms of the usage of language in social context is a certain discourse community has certain communication goals approved. The discourse community communicate within its members. A certain discourse community use a pattern of communication for its members. The discourse community tends to have more than one types of genre to communicate. The discourse community at last gains a number specific register. And the next topic is genre writing. Genre writing is a part of genre in language use. As for what Tori stated in 2006, genre writing is a kind or type of writing in which it has a typical style. If it is a descriptive, narrative, or creative writing, it also has a particular target reader if it is for the kids or adults and has a specific purpose if it is for the academe or for the mass. So in line with what Torius statement, we can see that there are three main aspects that covers the genre in writing as part of language use. Mainly, these aspects are style, readers, and goal. So when we say style, it means how something is written. This basically means how the words are used and how the way the information is organized. Next is readers. Sometimes we try to writing from a different perspective, right? So Darius stated in 2015 that genre writing is a different angle how writing is viewed and how it is written and how it is analyzed. Meaning, it is extremely different from conventional perspective about writing. It is about generalization of perspective, general perspective of a reader. Lastly, the goal. It is said in 2003 by Hyland that the central insights of genre analysis is embedded in social situation, so that a piece of writing is meant to achieve particular purpose which comes out of a particular situation. Hyland also stated that genre implies that the students to write not just to write, but to write something to achieve some purposes. This is in such way of getting something done, to get things done, to tell a story, to request an overdraft, to describe a technical process, to report past event, and so on. These goals or purposes is what we follow for a certain social convention for organizing messages as we want our readers to recognize our purpose. Let us keep in mind that highlight implies the purpose of genre writing is not only to enable the writer to write, but also the writer writes to pursue a certain goal. How to retell, how to report, how to describe, and how something is done are few of the examples of what Hyland wants us to understand. There are two distinctive dimensions in teaching and learning writing. First is that genre is a kind of text or writing work itself. This means that written language must be related to social function of the text. This is because social function implies into a certain social environment and place where the text is used, but may vary because of the different context and situation. And lastly, genre as a process means how the writing work is developed, taught, and learned. In here, there is a certain process of production and reproduction of the writing work. It can be associated that genre is a kind of coin with two faces in which each face has its own characteristics and function. So let us keep in mind that genre-based approach to teaching and learning writing is absolutely distinctive among other existing approaches. So that's gonna be it. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.